Did you know that native speakers use over 10,000 phrasal verbs? Like, that's a massive number. But mastering just a core fraction of them can instantly take your English from a B2 intermediate level to a C1 advanced level.
Oh, absolutely. It's the ultimate shortcut to sounding natural.
Right. And what if I told you that changing just one tiny preposition, like changing the word up to out, can completely reverse the meaning of an entire sentence? Welcome to English Learning Podcast for daily life, real conversation, and easy listening practice.
It is so wonderful to have you with us for this deep dive today. If you are learning English, or even if you're just fascinated by how language works, you've probably realized that phrasal verbs are just everywhere.
Yeah, they really are. They're like the engine of casual conversation.
Exactly. But what's really fascinating here is why they exist in the first place. To put it simply, a phrasal verb is when we take a standard physical base verb, like look or get, and we combine it with a preposition or an adverb, things like up, out, on, or through.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I feel like the sheer volume of vocabulary out there can be incredibly intimidating for you, the listener. I mean, if there are 10,000 of these things, it feels like this impossible mountain to climb.
Oh, totally. It's overwhelming.
But we have a fantastic roadmap for you today. We've organized everything into a highly logical system.
We have, because we don't just want you memorizing lists like a robot, Today, we are going to learn exactly 8 distinct categories of daily life, covering well over 100 essential phrasal verbs.
Over 100. That's huge.
It is, but more importantly, we're going to teach you the underlying spatial logic of these words, because human beings actually use physical space to describe invisible concepts. So once you understand the hidden code of words like up and out, you won't have to just memorize them anymore.
You'll actually be able to predict what they mean. I love that. So those 8 categories are going to take you through literally every single part of your day. We are covering the art of listening, the fall verbs, positivity and perseverance, shopping, studying, health and medical situations, speaking, and finally, technology.
It's a full day.
It really is. We'll start with the art of listening in a second, but stay tuned, because later you'll discover why falling apart is a total disaster, but falling into place is the best thing that can happen to you.
And we really want to speak directly to you right now. We know that building fluency takes immense courage. It's hard. So we want to inspire you to actively participate today.
Yes, please do.
We want you to speak out loud with us, to practice these phrases in your own voice, and to build your fluency with absolute confidence. And make sure you stick with us, because there is a special bonus at the very end of this deep dive that you really are not going to want to miss.
Oh, I'm so ready for this. So let's jump right into section 1, the art of listening, because, listening is the foundation of all language learning, right? We kind of have to start there.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And our very first phrasal verb is one that sets the tone for everything. Listen up.
Listen up. Okay, it sounds so authoritative. Like, I feel like I need to sit up straight. But I have to push back a little here. Why do we use the word up?
What do you mean?
Well, when I listen to something, my ears don't physically move up. Sound doesn't necessarily travel up. So why isn't it listen down or listen forward?
That is a brilliant question. And it strikes right at the heart of how English operates. In English, the preposition up rarely just means physical height. It's actually a spatial metaphor for activation or intensity. We're bringing something to the surface.
Oh, okay, so about energy.
Exactly. Think of a basketball coach in a locker room before a big game. The room is super noisy. Players are looking down at their shoes. Their minds are just wandering. The coach claps their hands and shouts, "Listen up." They're demanding that the players elevate their attention from a resting state to a highly active, intense state.
So the up brings the energy up. It literally raises the volume of their attention.
Yes, you are commanding them to pay careful attention. It's often used by someone in a position of authority, like a teacher to a group of students or a manager to a team. It basically means stop what you are doing, elevate your focus, because what I'm about to say is vital.
Makes total sense. Now, what if I'm not supposed to be paying attention? Like, what if I am being a little sneaky?
Well, then you are using our next verb, which is listen in. To listen in means to secretly listen to a conversation that you are not a part of. Basically, you're eavesdropping.
Okay, so where does the in come from?
The in implies that you are outside a boundary and you're trying to push your hearing inward into a private space. But what's fascinating here is how we can take this B2 level phrasal verb and elevate it to a C1 advanced level just by adding one more tiny word. We can make it a 3-word phrasal verb, listen in on.
Ooh, listen in on. Okay, I get the listen in part, but why add on? Like, what does on do to the mechanics of that sentence?
So the one acts kind of like a sniper scope. It directs the action toward a highly specific target. You aren't just, generally listening secretly to the ambient noise of a room. You are locking onto a specific person or subject.
Oh, wow.
Right. So if you are walking past a meeting room and the door is slightly open, you might stop to listen in on the boss's conversation. Like, I caught my brother listening in on my phone call. It's incredibly common in spoken English.
So in now pushes your hearing into the private space and unlocks onto the target. I love that so much. You are targeting this secret listening. Okay, let's move to the verb hear. Because you have 3 that look so incredibly similar but function so differently. Hear about, hear from, and hear of. I know learners constantly mix these up.
Oh, they do. They're very nuanced, and mixing them up can lead to some pretty funny misunderstandings. Let's start with hear about. To hear about something or someone means to receive detailed information or news regarding them. Like, did you hear about the new restaurant opening downtown?
Right, so you are receiving the narrative, the story, the details of an event. And hear of is slightly different, right? If someone asks me if I've heard of something, they don't want a long story, do they?
No, they don't. Hear of is purely about acknowledging the existence of something or someone. It is a simple binary yes or no. If I ask, hey, have you ever heard of a fruit called a rambutan? I'm just asking if the name has ever entered your ears.
Right, you're not asking for the biological details of the fruit.
Exactly. You'd say, no, I've never heard of it. It's about baseline awareness. Whereas hear about is about the details in the news.
Here is where it gets really interesting, though. The third one, hear from. Now, usually this just means receiving a direct message, right? Like, did you hear from your mother today? Meaning, did she call or text you directly? The message originated from her.
Yes, that's the most common usage. Or it can mean listening to a group, like we need to hear from the students regarding the new schedule.
Right, but I am confused about a very specific scenario. Why do people say, you'll be hearing from my lawyer, when they are incredibly angry? The lawyer hasn't spoken yet.
This raises such an important question about how we use language as a weapon, actually. This is the third, much more intimidating meaning of hear from. When someone is furious, maybe someone hit their car, broke a contract, and they scream, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. They are using it as a threat of legal action.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they are saying, my lawyer is going to contact you, and it is going to be terrible for you. The from acts as a directional arrow of incoming consequences. It promises that a very unpleasant communication is traveling from a powerful entity directly to you.
Wow, context really is everything, isn't it? It goes from a sweet, did you hear from your mom, to an aggressive, you will be hearing from my lawyer. That's a huge shift. What about when someone is angry at you, but you just want them to let you finish explaining?
Then you would say, hear me out.
Hear me out. Let's dissect that. Why out? We used out to mean leaving a space, but here I am asking someone to listen. So what is moving out?
Think of your argument or your explanation as a container filled with water. If you pour it and someone interrupts you halfway, the container isn't empty yet. To hear someone out means you are asking the listener to wait patiently until you have emptied every single word out of your mind.
That is such a cool visual.
Right. You are asking them to listen until the explanation is completely exhausted. You're basically saying, I know you are upset, or I know this sounds crazy, but please hear me out. Let me empty the container.
Okay, let's actually practice that one right now.
Yeah.
I want you, the listener, to actively use your voice here. Wherever you are, I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to repeat it out loud to practice your pronunciation and your confidence. Ready? Please repeat after me. Please hear me out before you get angry.
We'll give you a couple of seconds to say that out loud.
All right, excellent. Getting your mouth used to making those physical shapes is exactly how fluency happens.
Absolutely. Moving forward in our listening category, we have pickup. Now, pickup has dozens of meanings. You can pick up a heavy box, you can pick up a friend in your car. But in the context of listening, it refers to the actual mechanics of sound waves.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it means to hear a very faint sound, or for a machine to detect a specific audio signal. Like you might say, the microphone is so sensitive, it can pick up a whisper from across the room.
It's almost like a radio scanner literally plucking the invisible sound waves out of the air. Okay, what about tune in and tune out? Because these sound like they belong on a really old television set.
Well, they do originate from the physical dials on old radios and televisions. In the past, to find a station, you had to physically turn a dial to tune the antenna to a specific frequency. So to tune in means to actively pay attention, or to specifically select a broadcast to watch or listen to.
Like when someone says, "Thank you for tuning into our broadcast today."
Exactly. You have aligned your mental frequency with my voice.
But the opposite is incredibly useful for daily life too, isn't it? Tune out.
Oh, it is a survival mechanism, honestly. When you tune out, you actively ignore someone or something, you just stop paying attention, you intentionally turn your mental dial away from their frequency so their words just become meaningless static.
I feel like we all do this.
Oh, for sure. If your coworker is complaining for the 5th time today about the office coffee, you might just tune them out. You let the sound hit your ears without your brain processing the meaning.
I definitely have someone I need to tune out occasionally, but on the flip side, what if someone is so fascinating that you literally cannot stop listening? You are absolutely mesmerized. There is an idiom for this, right?
Yes, there is. To hang on someone's every word. If you hang on someone's every word, you are paying such close, desperate attention that it is almost physical. The metaphor is that their words are like a cliff edge, and you are gripping them with your hands so you don't fall.
Wow.
Yeah, you cannot afford to miss a single syllable.
Why do we do that, though? Like, what kind of person makes us hang on their every word?
Usually it is because their story or their presence is absolutely captivating.
Oh, let's pause and explore that word. Captivating. That is a fantastic C1 vocabulary word. Let's break that down for everyone.
It really is a great word. Captivating comes from the ancient root word for being captured or held prisoner. But in modern English, we use it in a positive metaphorical way. If a speaker or a book is captivating, their charm, their intelligence, or their storytelling literally captures your attention so completely that you cannot look away.
Your focus is basically held hostage by their brilliance.
Yes, you are captivated, therefore you hang on their every word.
I love that linguistic connection. You are a willing prisoner of their story. Now, if you are enjoying this deep dive so far, please like, share, and subscribe to keep improving your daily English. So we just talked about the invisible waves of sound and how our attention interacts with them. But what happens when the very real physical force of gravity takes over? Next, we'll explore why native speakers are always falling for things.
Yes, the word fall. It is arguably one of the most conceptually difficult base verbs in the English language.
Really? Why is that?
Because the physical downward movement of falling is used by humans to represent an incredible variety of abstract concepts. Things like failure, emotion reduction, and even success. Let's start with a really dramatic one, which is fall apart.
Oh, fall apart. This sounds like utter destruction, but why apart? Why not fall to pieces?
Well, we do say fall to pieces, actually, but fall apart focuses on the loss of structural integrity. The word apart means separation. Literally, if a wooden table is old and rotten and the legs separate from the top, it falls apart. But we use this metaphorically all the time for systems, plans, and even human psychology.
Like a company, maybe?
Exactly. If a massive corporation loses all its money, the CEO quits, and the servers crash, the company is falling apart. The structure holding it together has just vanished.
And we use it for people too, right? Like emotional states.
Constantly. If a person goes through a terrible tragedy, maybe a sudden divorce or a massive loss, and they cannot stop crying, they cannot go to work, they cannot function, we say they're falling apart. Their emotional structure has collapsed. It basically means breaking down completely.
It is such a visual phrase. You can just see the pieces shattering. What about when you are in a marathon or maybe in a really difficult university class and everyone is moving faster than you?
Then you're dealing with fall behind. This introduces the metaphor of life as a race. To fall behind means you are failing to keep up the expected pace or level.
So gravity isn't pulling you down here.
No, the gravity here isn't pulling you toward the ground. It is pulling you backward in space relative to the group. So if you are sick for a week and you miss school, you will fall behind in your studies. You have to do extra work just to catch up to where the rest of the class is.
That brings us to one that happens, I swear, every single weekend. I make plans to go to the beach with my friends, I pack my bag, and then I wake up, and there is a massive thunderstorm. My plans fall through. But wait, why through? Why didn't my plans fall apart?
This is where spatial metaphors are just brilliant. Think of a plan as a bridge made of ice. You and your friends built this bridge into the future. You think it is solid. You plan to walk across it to reach your weekend at the beach. But suddenly, the storm hits. The ice breaks, and you literally fall through the surface of your plan into nothingness.
Oh, that's so evocative.
The plan collapsed right under your feet. If you were going to buy a house, but the bank refused the loan at the exact last minute, the sale fell through. The floor vanished.
I love the ice bridge analogy. You fall right through the floor of your expectations. But if the ice breaks, hopefully you have a safety net beneath the ice. Which brings us to fall back on.
Yes, fall back on is a fantastic 3-word phrasal verb. It means having financial, emotional, or practical support to rely on when your primary plans fail. Like if your career as a Hollywood actor falls through, it is incredibly wise to have a degree in accounting to fall back on.
It's your backup plan.
Exactly. It physically catches you when gravity pulls you down.
Okay, let's unpack this next pair because this is where physical descriptions get really hyper-specific, and I know learners get tripped up constantly. Fall down versus fall over. If I am walking and I drop my smartphone on the floor, did it fall over?
Actually, no.
Yeah.
That is a really common learner mistake. It fell down. Let's picture this clearly to understand the geometry of the words. Fall down means to drop to a lower elevation. It is a vertical descent.
Okay, so straight down.
Yes. If you hold a phone at chest height and release it, it drops straight down to the floor. It changed its altitude. A person walking down the street trips on a rock, and their body drops from a standing position to the ground. They fall down.
Okay, so what is fall over? Where is the over coming from?
Fall over implies an arc, a tipping motion. It means something goes from being vertically balanced to being horizontal on its side, but it doesn't necessarily change its altitude.
Can you give me an example?
Think of a tall glass of water resting on a table. If your cat pushes the glass and it tips onto its side, spilling water, but stays resting on the table, it has fallen over. It didn't drop to a lower level, it just tipped.
Ah, so if the glass tips onto its side on the table, it fell over. But what if it rolls off the edge of the table and hits the floor?
Then it fell down to the floor. The tipping action itself is falling over. The descent to the ground is falling down.
That is so incredibly clear. The geometry totally explains the preposition. Brilliant. What about fall off?
Fall off requires a starting point of attachment. The word off signifies separation from a surface. A leaf falls off a tree. A picture frame falls off the wall. A writer falls off a horse. But it also has a very advanced business and economics meaning.
Really? Like what?
It can mean a rate, a number, or a quality is dropping rapidly.
You're falling off a cliff.
Exactly. If a restaurant used to be amazing, but lately the chef is lazy and the food is terrible, you could say the quality has really fallen off lately.
Yeah.
Or a CEO might look at a chart and say, our sales numbers fell off in the fourth quarter. The numbers detached from their high point.
And what if something is inside a container and gravity pulls it out, like, say, a tooth?
Then we use fallout. The out signifies exiting an enclosure or a boundary. If something is housed inside something else and becomes loose, it falls out. Your hair falls out of your scalp. A loose tooth falls out of your gums. Someone could accidentally fall out of a window. They exited the container of the house.
Here's one of my absolute favorites because it can be wonderful or terrible depending entirely on the context. Fall for.
Oh, fall for is highly emotional and psychological. Its first meaning is developing sudden, strong, romantic feelings for someone. Like they met at a coffee shop and immediately fell for each other. But its second meaning is completely different. It means to be tricked, deceived, or manipulated by a lie or a scam.
Like falling for a trap.
Exactly. I can't believe I fell for that email scam. I sent the hacker my bank password.
I have always wondered why we use the exact same phrase for love and for being scammed. What is the connection there?
It is profound, actually. In both cases, your rational logic disappears and emotional gravity takes over your brain. When you fall in love, you lose your balance. When you are tricked by a con artist, your critical thinking loses its balance. In both scenarios, you surrender control and you fall for the illusion or the romance.
You surrender control. That makes so much sense. Finally, we have fall into.
Fall into can be quite literal. You trip and fall into a swimming pool. You get a terrible head injury and fall into a coma. You cross the boundary into a new state of being. But the idioms here are where the real linguistic magic happens. We say things can fall into place.
I love when things fall into place. It is the exact opposite of falling apart.
Yes. If a complex, stressful situation suddenly resolves itself easily and perfectly without you having to struggle anymore, we say everything just fell into place. Imagine a complicated jigsaw puzzle where the final pieces just drop perfectly into their correct slots without you forcing them. Another great idiom is having something fall into your lap.
Like when you get a job offer you didn't even apply for.
Exactly. Your lap is the flat area of your upper legs when you are sitting down. When something incredible, lucrative, and unexpected happens to you with zero effort on your part, it falls into your lap. You were just sitting there comfortably, and the universe delivered a massive blessing directly to you from the sky.
So cool. Hey, listener, has a great opportunity ever just fallen into your lap? Write about it in the comments. I really want to read your stories. So we've talked about gravity pulling us down with the word fall. But linguistically, humans equate the direction up with survival, happiness, and forward momentum. Let's look at how we use up and other spatial directions to escape the fall. Up next, the ultimate toolkit for staying positive and surviving tough days.
Staying positive is crucial, especially when you're enduring the long journey of learning a new language. It requires a massive amount of perseverance. But before we get into our positivity phrasal verbs, we need to acknowledge that small talk is a huge part of staying positive and building social relationships in daily life.
Yes, small talk is so important. Before we get into positivity, let's build your daily conversation skills. A quick chat can entirely change someone's mood, so let's do a quick role play to practice weather small talk with a partner. I'll be person A, the expert will be person B, and then you, the listener, will try. Listen closely to the idioms we use here.
Sounds good.
Wow, it's really pouring today, isn't it?
Yes, it is absolutely coming down. I hope it clears up by the weekend.
Me too. We really need the sun to break through. All right, notice how we used clears up to signify the weather improving and break through for the sun fighting the clouds. Okay, now it is your turn, listener. I'm going to say the first line, and I want you to respond with the exact phrase, yes, I hope it clears up by the weekend. Ready? Wow, it's really pouring today, isn't it?
I'll give you a few seconds to repeat that out loud.
Perfect. Small talk builds big bridges. Now, let's look at the verbs that keep us moving forward. Starting with believe in. I know believe means to accept something as true, but what does the word in add to that?
Think of it as a container of trust. To believe in someone means you have deep, unwavering confidence in their internal abilities, their character, and their future potential. It is vastly more profound than just believing a fact.
How so?
Well, if I say, I believe it is raining, I just accept a fact. But if I say, I believe in you, I am actively supporting your potential as a human being. And we want to say to you, the listener, directly we believe in you and your English journey. We know you can achieve fluency.
We absolutely do. And part of that journey to fluency is our next verb, brush up on.
Yes. To brush up on a skill means to refresh your memory and improve something that you previously learned but have perhaps forgotten or let degrade over time. Think of an old, beautiful piece of silver, like a teapot, that has gotten dull and black with tarnish. You take a physical brush and you polish it until the silver shines brightly again.
I love that imagery.
So if you studied French in high school but haven't spoken a word of it in 10 years, you need to brush up on your French before your trip to Paris. You need to polish the tarnish off your vocabulary.
I definitely need to brush up on my calculus skills, honestly. They are very tarnished. Okay, what about our relationships with other people? We want to get along. Why do we use along?
Visualize two parallel lines moving forward through time. To get along means to have a friendly, harmonious relationship with someone without intersecting in a crash. You don't fight. You move along the path of life, side by side, peacefully. Like, despite their political differences, my brother and I get along really well.
But what happens if you don't get along and a relationship ends in a fiery crash? You have to get over it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. To get over something means to recover from a negative physical or emotional state and return to your normal, healthy baseline. You can get over a terrible viral infection. You can get over a painful romantic breakup.
But what's the visual there?
The visual image is literal. You are walking on a path, and there's a massive blocking obstacle in front of you. The sickness, the grief, you have to climb over that obstacle so you can continue walking forward on your path.
That makes the next one make perfect visual sense too. Get through.
Exactly. To get through means to endure and survive a difficult, prolonged experience from the very beginning to the absolute end. It implies that you are not just jumping over a quick obstacle, you are actually inside a long, dark tunnel. You have to keep moving step by step to reach the light on the other side. You get through a tough semester of college, you get through a brutal winter.
Let's talk about that C1 word you just used. Endure.
Endure is a very powerful, advanced word. To endure means to suffer patiently without giving up or breaking. It means you are carrying a massive, crushing weight. It hurts terribly, but your internal strength ensures you do not drop it. When you get through a terrible tragedy or a grueling physical marathon, you are enduring it. It is the ultimate test of human stamina.
That is profound. And when someone not only endures but performs brilliantly despite the wait, we say they go beyond.
To go beyond means to intentionally exceed the established limits or expectations. We often hear the expanded phrase in corporate environments like, they went above and beyond. If you ask a waiter for a few extra napkins and they bring you napkins, warm wet wipes, and a free chocolate dessert to apologize for a tiny spill, they went entirely outside the boundaries of their job description. They went beyond.
But we can't work that hard all the time, right? If we constantly go above and beyond, we will just burn out. Sometimes we really need to goof off.
I love this one. To goof off or goof around means to waste time doing silly, playful, unproductive things. And what is fascinating here is the psychological importance of this action. Goofing off is not always a negative trait.
Really? Tell my boss that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
In our modern, high-stress, hyper-productive world, giving your brain permission to goof off, to play a silly video game, to laugh at cat videos on the internet is actually a necessary psychological mechanism to relieve intense stress. It acts as a pressure valve. It prevents you from falling apart.
It is basically self-care. I'm definitely going to tell my boss that my doom scrolling on social media is a pressure valve. But when it is actually time to work, you have to keep at it. Or wait, is it keep up? I always get these two confused.
They're very close, but the spatial mechanics are distinct. To keep at something implies striking a barrier. It means continuing to work hard despite intense difficulties or repeated failures. You are swinging a hammer at a rock. If a complex math problem is frustrating you and you want to quit, a tutor would say, keep at it. You'll figure it out.
So at is for a struggle. What about up? To keep up, however, implies maintaining altitude. You are already flying high, you are doing a good job, and you just need to maintain that forward momentum so gravity doesn't pull you down. If you get a perfect score on your English exam, the teacher will write on the paper, keep up the good work.
So keep at it is for when you are struggling against a wall, and keep up the good work is for when you are successfully flying. That is such a great conceptual tip, and when you succeed, your face might just light up.
To light up means to suddenly look visibly, intensely happy. The joy literally brightens your facial expression, like a lamp turning on inside your head. We say, when she saw the puppy, her face lit up. Or we talk about someone with a highly charismatic personality who can light up a room just by walking through the door. Their energy dispels the darkness.
And if your face is lighting up, you are probably looking at a bright future. You look forward to it. Yes, look forward to means anticipating an upcoming event with genuine excitement and pleasure. You are orienting your physical body and your mental gaze toward the future. Like, I look forward to my summer vacation. And remember, structurally, the word to acts as a preposition here, not an infinitive marker. So it must be followed by a noun or a gerund, an ing verb.
Right. So you say, I look forward to seeing you. You do not say, I look forward to see you.
Exactly. Excellent B2 and C1 grammar point right there.
Mark that down, listeners. And if you are optimistic, you might say things are looking up.
If a situation is looking up, it means it is steadily improving. The trajectory of your life is pointing toward the sky, toward better things. I was unemployed and depressed for 6 months, but I had 2 amazing job interviews today, so things are finally looking up.
And all that hard work, all those interviews will eventually pay off.
To pay off invokes an investment metaphor. It means your sustained effort finally yield a positive, tangible result or success. Studying English vocabulary for an hour every single day really paid off when I easily passed my C1 certification exam. The massive investment of your time paid you back in the currency of success.
Now, what if someone has been goofing off way too much, making bad investments, and causing trouble? They need to straighten up.
To straighten up means to significantly improve your behavior after a period of acting recklessly or poorly. If a teenager is getting failing grades, ignoring curfews, and breaking rules, their parents might give them an ultimatum and tell them they need to straighten up. Visually, imagine a person with a bent, crooked posture, suddenly standing up tall, rigid, and correct. You are aligning your moral spine.
And finally, for this section, to work through.
To work through means to methodically manage and solve a complex, multi-part, often emotional problem. It takes immense time. A clinical therapist helps a patient work through childhood trauma. A project manager helps a software team work through a complicated coding architecture issue. You are doing the painstaking labor to untangle the knots.
We've talked about the emotional currency of staying positive and working through problems. Let's pivot and talk about actual physical currency, because when you feel good or when you need a psychological boost, where do people go? They go shopping. And the modern mall is basically a linguistic hunting ground. Next, we hit them all with the most crucial vocabulary for spending your money.
Yes, retail therapy. The mechanics of commerce and shopping generate their own unique set of physical phrasal verbs. Let's start with the ultimate disappointment of the retail world.
Sellout.
Oh, nothing is worse than this. You wait in line online for concert tickets for 3 hours, the screen loads, you get to the front and the red text says, "We are sold out. Why out?" It is heartbreaking. To sell out means a store or a vendor has completely depleted its inventory of a specific item. They have zero left. Let's look at the spatial physics here. Think of a warehouse as a giant box. When you sell things, they physically move out the doors. When the box is empty, the inventory is entirely out in the world.
I see.
Yeah, the preposition out signifies total emptiness or the completion of removal. We sold out of the new smartphone in 10 minutes. The box is empty.
But if they do have it, you get to try out the item.
To try out means to test an item to see if you like it, if it fits your body, or if it meets your technical needs before you actually commit to purchasing it. You try out a new, expensive tennis racket by swinging it. You try out a software demo. The out here implies taking it out of its normal resting state to see how it performs in the real world. It is a trial period.
Okay, here is where prepositions completely change the game, and I see learners stumble here constantly. Pick up versus pick out. If I ask my husband to go to the grocery store, I have to be very, very careful which one I use. Let's unpack the difference.
This is a textbook example of how spatial prepositions define exact behavioral meaning. To pick up something means to buy it quickly, casually, and without much thought. Can you pick up some milk on your way home from work? You don't have to analyze the milk. You don't need to debate the philosophical merits of the milk. You just grab the plastic jug, pay, and leave. The action is purely vertical. Your hand lifts it up off the shelf.
Right. It takes 2 seconds. It is mindless.
But to pick out means to take considerable time, to scrutinize multiple options, and to make a careful, deliberate selection from a large group. If you are buying an engagement ring for your partner, you absolutely do not just pick up a ring. You spend hours looking at diamonds under a magnifying glass to pick out the perfect one. The out signifies extracting one specific special item from a larger collection.
Wow, that is such a powerful visual. Grabbing a carton of milk is picking up. Selecting a diamond ring from a velvet tray is picking out. I love it. The preposition tells you exactly how much effort is involved. Now, onto my absolute favorite shopping verb, mark down.
I think every human on earth loves a good markdown. To mark down means the retail store significantly reduces the price of an item. The history of this is literal. Before digital barcodes, store clerks would take a red ink pen and physically mark the paper price tag, crossing out the high number and writing a lower number down below it. These heavy winter coats are marked down by 50% because it is springtime.
It is the best feeling, especially when you're just looking around. But wait, what is the difference between looking around and shopping around? Aren't they identical?
They seem identical, but the intent is vastly different. To look around means to browse a store casually without any specific intention to buy anything. It is entertainment. The clerk asks, "Can I help you find something?"
Yeah.
And you smile and say, "No thanks, I'm just looking around." Your eyes are simply making a circle around the room.
But what if my refrigerator breaks and I need a new one today?
Then you shouldn't just look around. You need to shop around. To shop around means to actively visit several different stores or websites, to aggressively compare prices, warranties, and quality before making a large, consequential purchase. You are hunting for data. In fact, it is believed by financial experts that shopping around is the absolute best way to save money on major appliances and electronics. You don't buy the first one you see, you map out the territory.
That is a very smart strategy, because if you don't shop around, you might end up having to shell out way too much money.
To shell out is a phenomenally vivid phrasal verb. It means to pay a large amount of money, often very reluctantly or painfully. The image comes from the natural world. Imagine opening your leather wallet like an oyster, opening its hard shell to hand over its precious pearl, your hard-earned money. It implies resistance. My car transmission broke down on the highway, and I had to shell out $2,000 to the mechanic to fix it.
Ouch. Shelling out hurts because it is usually an emergency you didn't plan for. But what if you spend a huge amount of money completely voluntarily, but on something ridiculous or unnecessary?
Then you blow money on it. To blow money on something means to spend money wastefully, carelessly, or extravagantly. The metaphor is a strong gust of wind. It is as if you held a stack of cash in your hand, stood in a hurricane, and just blew it away into the sky. He got his first paycheck and immediately blew all his money on designer sneakers and expensive watches. It vanished into thin air.
And if you regret what you blew your money on, or if the expensive watch is broken, you have to take back.
To take back means to physically return an item to the retail store for a monetary refund or an exchange, usually because it is defective, it doesn't fit, or you simply experienced buyer's remorse. This sweater has a hole in the sleeve. I need to take it back to the mall tomorrow.
We spent all our money, the mall is closing, and now it's time to invest in our brains. Get your notebooks ready because we are heading into the classroom.
Education is rich with phrasal verbs because learning is an active structural process. Before you write a complex university paper or take a massive exam, you need to think through the problem.
To think through. Why through? Why not think about?
Think about is static. You can think about an apple without doing anything, but through implies a journey from point A to point B. To think through means to carefully, logically consider all the possible outcomes, steps, and future consequences of a situation from the very beginning to the absolute end. Don't just quit your job impulsively because you are angry. You need to think through how you will pay your rent next month. You must travel the entire logical path.
That makes perfect sense. And if you are studying effectively and your brain is working well, you will pick up the material. Wait a second, we used pick up for hearing a faint sound, and we used it for casually buying milk at the store. Now we are using it for studying. Why does this one verb wear so many hats?
It really is one of the most versatile verbs in the English language, and the reason is that grabbing something with your hand is the most basic human action. In an educational context, to pick something up means to learn a new complex skill or a foreign language quickly, naturally, and often without formal classroom instruction.
So without studying hard.
Exactly. She lived in Tokyo for 6 months and managed to pick up quite a bit of conversational Japanese just by talking to people in cafes. You acquire the knowledge effortlessly, as if you were casually picking a shiny coin off the sidewalk. It just sticks to you.
It is effortless acquisition. Unbelievable how flexible that phrase is. Now, here is something you should never do in school, no matter how much you struggle to pick things up. Cheat on.
To cheat on an exam or a standardized test means to act deceptively, intentionally breaking the established rules to secure a better grade. You hide notes in your sleeve, you use your phone under the desk, or you look at another student's paper. The on directs the deception at a specific target, which is the test. And of course, it also means to be unfaithful in a romantic relationship, which is equally deceptive.
Don't cheat on your math tests and don't cheat on your partner. Good life advice right there. Instead of cheating, if you don't know the answer, you should read up on the topic.
To read up on something is a fantastic 3-word phrasal verb. It means to intensely research or proactively increase your knowledge about a specific topic by reading multiple articles or books. If you have a job interview at a major tech company tomorrow, you better read up on their latest software products tonight. The spatial up implies filling your brain container all the way to the top rim with information so you're fully prepared.
And before you submit your final essay to the professor, you need to go through it. But wait, I want to press you on this. What is the difference between reading an essay and going through it?
Reading is passive absorption. You read a novel for fun, but to go through a document implies labor. It means to scrutinize it.
Let's pause on that C1 word, scrutinize.
To scrutinize means to examine something with extreme care, suspicion, and microscopic attention to detail, specifically looking for hidden mistakes, logical flaws, or errors. When you go through your final essay, you aren't just reading the story, you are scrutinizing every single comma, evaluating every spelling word, and checking every historical date to ensure it is flawless. You are walking through the text with a magnifying glass.
And once it is perfectly scrutinized, you hand in or turn in the assignment.
These two are perfectly synonymous. To hand in or turn in means to physically or digitally via a portal submit your completed assignment to the person in authority, like your teacher or your boss. Please turn in your final history essays by Friday at 5 p.m. sharp.
But sadly, sometimes the pressure of university is too much, the exams are too hard, and a student might drop out.
To drop out means to permanently leave a school, a university, or a specific educational program before completing the requirements or graduating. He dropped out of medical school in his second year because the stress and the lack of sleep were too intense. The out signifies leaving the educational system entirely. You fall out of the structure.
On a lighter note, what is the teacher doing at the front of the classroom with a giant stack of paper? They're going to hand out the syllabus.
To hand out means to distribute physical items to a group of people. The teacher takes the central stack and hands one paper out to each individual student until the stack is entirely gone. The preposition out carries the precise geometric meaning of distribution from a single central point outward to the periphery.
And hopefully when the teacher explains the difficult lesson on the syllabus, the students catch on.
To catch on means to suddenly finally understand a difficult concept or figure out how to execute a task after initially struggling with it. It is that magical aha moment where the light bulb turns on.
I love those moments.
The advanced calculus formula was incredibly confusing at first, but after the teacher did 3 practice problems on the board, I finally caught on. It implies your brain literally reached out its hands and successfully grabbed the flying idea before it escaped.
I hope our listeners are catching on to all these spatial prepositions. In fact, listener, I have a quick interactive keyword challenge for you right now. Think back over what we just discussed in the last 40 minutes or so. I want you to write down one keyword or idiom already explained. Maybe it's hang on someone's every word, or fall into place, or shell out and write its definition in the comment box. Engaging physically with the keyboard helps solidify the memory in your brain. Do it right now.
It is a really great exercise.
All this intense studying and scrutinizing might give you a terrible headache. Up next, we look at exactly what to tell the doctor or the nurse when your physical body starts failing you.
Medical English is incredibly important. If you are traveling in a foreign country and you become sick, you need exact precision to get the right medical help. Let's start with the very beginning of an illness. You come down with something.
To come down with a disease means you are in the early stages of becoming ill. But why do we use come? Where's it coming from?
The linguistic phrasing here treats the illness as an external entity that is arriving at your location. It is coming to you. And the down represents the downward trajectory of your physical health. Your energy is lowering. I have a scratchy throat, my nose is running, and I'm sneezing. I think I'm coming down with a cold.
So you wouldn't use this for an injury?
Exactly. You wouldn't use this for a major physical trauma. If you break your leg skiing, you don't come down with a broken leg. You only use it for viruses, bugs, and infections.
If the virus gets worse and your body mounts a defense, you might start to burn up.
To burn up means to have a dangerously high fever. Your body temperature is radiating intense abnormal heat. The up signifies the thermometer mercury rising to the top. If a mother touches her sleeping child's forehead and quickly pulls her hand back in shock, she might say, "Oh my goodness, you are burning up. We need to get you to a doctor for medicine."
Let's talk about the less glamorous verbs, because in an emergency room, they are absolutely vital. Throw up.
To throw up simply means to vomit. To violently eject the contents of your stomach out of your mouth. It is graphic, yes, but if you have severe food poisoning, it is the exact natural phrase you need to tell the triage nurse. I ate some bad seafood at a restaurant and I was throwing up all night long. The up is the literal reverse direction of digestion.
And what if the issue isn't in your stomach, but deep in your lungs? You cough up.
To cough up means to violently expel liquid or solid matter from your lungs and throat. You might cough up mucus or phlegm during a severe bacterial chest infection, but what is critical here is recognizing a medical emergency. If you cough up blood, that elevates the situation from a standard winter cold to an immediate crisis. You must tell the doctor instantly, "I am coughing up blood."
A very important distinction that could save a life. Now, what if you get stung by a wasp, or you eat a food you are allergic to, like peanuts? Your face or throat might puff up.
To puff up means to swell and enlarge abnormally due to fluid retention or an allergic reaction. It literally looks like a balloon inflating under your skin. She ate a shrimp cocktail, and within minutes, her lips and eyes started to puff up from the severe allergic reaction.
And what if you have a chronic condition like asthma, arthritis, or eczema that you've managed for years? Sometimes it will flare up.
A flare-up is a sudden return or severe worsening of a chronic medical condition after a long period of relative peace and remission. The metaphor here is a campfire. The fire was reduced to quiet, gray embers, and you thought it was out, but a sudden gust of wind or a biological trigger like extreme stress causes the flames to leap high into the air again. It flares up. My joint arthritis always flares up when the weather gets cold and rainy.
Similar to the skin condition, breakout.
To break out means a sudden, widespread appearance of a rash, pimples, or hives on the surface of your skin. I tried a new, cheap laundry detergent and my back broke out in a terrible, itchy red rash. The medical condition violently breaks through the barrier of your clear skin.
But the human body is an amazing machine, and usually your immune system will try to fight off the invader.
To fight off an illness means your body is actively resisting the disease and trying to destroy it before it takes full control of your systems. It is a warfare metaphor. You take heavy doses of vitamin C, you drink hot ginger tea, and you sleep for 12 hours straight because you are trying to fight off the flu. You are going to war with the virus to push it off your territory.
But if the virus wins the battle, or if the fever gets too high, a person's brain might shut down to protect itself. They might pass out.
To pass out means to completely lose consciousness, to faint. It was so incredibly hot in the crowded subway train that a man suddenly passed out and collapsed on the floor. The out signifies the lights going off in your brain. You exit the waking world.
And when the lights come back on, we have three options, right? Come to, come around, or come around. Why around?
They all mean the exact same thing, which is to regain consciousness after fainting, being knocked out, or waking up from anesthesia. You open your eyes, you look around confused, and the nurses say, "Oh good, you are coming to." Or, "She is finally coming around." The word around signifies completing a circle. You left the waking world, traveled through unconsciousness, and have traveled around back to your starting point of awareness.
That circular metaphor is beautiful. And to make sure you don't pass out again, the doctor will put on some medication.
Notice the context here. This isn't putting clothes on your body. In a medical context, when a doctor puts you on a medication, it means they officially prescribe a strict regimen of drugs for you to take regularly. My blood pressure was dangerously high, so my cardiologist put me on beta blockers.
Let's do another quick pronunciation pause with our listeners to lock in that B2 level fluency. I want you to repeat this sentence out loud to practice the rhythm and intonation. Ready? I think I'm coming down with a cold.
Take a couple of seconds to say that.
Excellent work. You've fought off the virus, you're healthy again, and it's time to speak your mind and plug into the digital world. Let's talk about the mechanics of communication in computers.
Let's begin with the physical mechanics of speaking to other humans. The absolute most common verbs you will use every day are talk to and talk with. They are largely interchangeable in casual speech, but there is a subtle, fascinating, psychological power dynamic difference between them.
Let's unpack that power dynamic, because I use these interchangeably all the time.
Talk to can sometimes imply a one-way street, a directional flow of information from one person to another. If an angry manager storms into a room and says, "I need to talk to my team," the manager is probably going to be doing all the speaking, delivering a harsh lecture or strict instructions. But talk with inherently implies a two-way, collaborative, equal conversation. "I need to talk with my team" suggests a healthy dialogue where everyone's input and opinions are valued.
That is a brilliant nuance to keep in mind for office politics. Now, what if I am talking about you to someone else, and I am saying amazing things about your skills? I am talking you up.
To talk someone up means to speak enthusiastically and highly positively about a person or a thing in order to promote them to others. If your best friend is looking for a job at my company, you would talk them up to me. You would say, "Oh, Sarah is brilliant. She is so organized. She would be perfect for the management role." You are artificially raising their social status, talking them up the ladder.
But if a rebellious teenager is arguing with their parents rudely, they are doing the opposite. They're talking back.
To talk back is to reply defiantly, disrespectfully, or rudely to someone in a position of authority. The back implies taking the words that were directed at you and throwing them aggressively in reverse, rejecting the authority. The strict teacher gave the student detention because he wouldn't stop talking back during the math lesson.
Let's look at the verb speak. We have speak up versus speak up for. Adding for changes the entire ethical meaning.
It does. Speak up on its own simply refers to audio volume. It means to increase the loudness of your physical voice. Can you speak up? The phone connection's terrible and I can't hear you over the static. But the moment you add the preposition for speak up for it, transforms entirely into an ethical stance.
How so?
To speak up for someone means to verbally defend them or advocate for them, especially if they are vulnerable, marginalized, or absent from the room. When the boss unfairly blamed John for the accounting error, Maria spoke up for him and told the truth.
It takes bravery to speak up for someone. And what if you are the designated leader or the president of a club? You speak for the group.
To speak for a group means to officially represent their collective beliefs, opinions, or decisions. I know I speak for everyone in this room when I say a massive thank you for your years of hard work. You are acting as the single, unified voice for many individual minds.
And finally, a very famous, very aggressive phrasal verb that everyone learns early on. Shut up.
We must be extremely careful with this one. Its primary literal meaning is a rude, angry, aggressive command telling someone to stop talking instantly. It is highly impolite and can start a fight. I'm trying to watch the movie, so please shut up. However, it has a secondary, highly common slang meaning among close friends.
Yes, expressing extreme joyful disbelief.
Exactly. If your best friend runs into the room and tells you, I just won $1 million in the lottery, you might gasp, cover your mouth, and yell, shut up! You are absolutely not telling them to be quiet. You are saying, I am so intensely shocked that I cannot believe the words coming out of your mouth. It is too good to be true. It is a reaction of stunned amazement.
Context and tone of voice mean absolutely everything with that one. If you say it with a smile, it's joy. If you say it with a scowl, it's an insult. Okay, let's pivot to the digital world. Technology is an invisible space, so we built it entirely on physical phrasal verbs to help our brains understand it. Before you do anything on a computer, you have to log in or sign in. Why log?
These are completely synonymous today, but the history is physical. Hundreds of years ago, the captain of a ship kept a heavy paper book called a logbook, where they wrote down daily events. So to log in means to write your name in the book to prove you were there. Today, it means to access a secure computer system or website by entering your unique credentials, like a username and password. You are verifying your identity to enter the private digital space. I can't check my bank balance because I forgot my password to log in.
And once you are in the digital space, you navigate with your mouse. You click on things.
To click on means to press the mechanical mouse button, while the digital cursor is positioned exactly over a specific digital object, a hypertext link, a picture icon, a software application. Click on the big blue button to download the PDF file.
And then we start moving around the web page. We scroll up, scroll down, or scroll through. I love the history of this word.
What's fascinating here is how we use the physical metaphor of ancient history for modern technology. An ancient scroll was a long, continuous roll of animal parchment. To read the bottom, you had to physically roll the top up and roll the bottom down. We kept that ancient language for flat digital screens.
That's wild.
Yeah. To scroll down means moving the digital content upward so you can see what is hidden lower on the page. To scroll through means to continuously browse a long feed like social media, casually scanning the endless information. I wasted an hour last night just scrolling through social media videos.
And before you scroll too much, click the wrong link and accidentally delete your life's work. You better back up your data.
To back up your data means to create a duplicate, safe copy of your critical digital files and store them on an external hard drive or in the cloud. It goes right back to the concept we discussed earlier of having something to fall back on if disaster strikes. It is your safety net. If your laptop motherboard crashes and burns and you didn't back it up, you lose every photo and document you own.
Or worse, what if a criminal decides to hack into your computer?
To hack into a system means to illegally and aggressively bypass digital security walls to gain unauthorized access to private networks or sensitive data. The word hack implies violently chopping through a wooden barrier with a sharp axe. It is a forceful entry. Russian cyber criminals hacked into the hospital's mainframe server and stole millions of patient medical records.
Terrifying. But a much more common everyday annoyance is when you run out of space.
To run out of something means the supply of a necessary resource is steadily decreasing until there is absolutely zero left. You can run out of milk in the fridge, you can run out of gasoline on the highway, and on a computer, you can run out of hard drive storage space or battery power. The out represents the absolute end of the supply. My phone died in the middle of the phone call because I ran out of battery.
And if your hard drive runs out of space, you have to free up room.
To free up space means to literally liberate it, to make it available for use again by aggressively deleting old, unnecessary files or uninstalling old programs. By removing the digital junk, you create freedom for new data to exist. I had to delete 5 huge movie files to free up enough gigabytes of space to install the new operating system update.
And while you're doing that, trying to clean your computer, a super annoying advertisement might pop up.
To pop up means to appear suddenly, unexpectedly, and often aggressively right in the middle of your screen, blocking what you were trying to read. Think of a child's jack-in-the-box toy jumping out on a spring. I was reading a serious news article when a loud, flashing scam warning suddenly popped up. We even turned this verb into a noun. You have to install a pop-up blocker to stop them.
Now, privacy is a massive deal online today, which is why we have to constantly manage opt-in and opt-out.
These are highly formal, legalistic phrasal verbs regarding your personal choice in data. To opt in means to explicitly, voluntarily choose to participate in the system or agree to receive communications, like marketing emails or data tracking. You are opting, which means choosing to go into the system.
And opt out is the reverse.
Exactly. You explicitly choose to leave the system, deny tracking, or decline the spam emails. When you sign up for the free software, make sure to uncheck the tiny box at the bottom to opt out of their daily spam newsletter.
If you forget to opt out, your inbox will be flooded, and you'll have to filter out all those emails later.
To filter out means to set up a digital barrier or an algorithm that automatically identifies and removes unwanted, specific elements from a massive stream of data. Think of making coffee in the morning. The paper filter keeps the bitter, gritty grounds out of your cup while letting the good liquid through. Your email program filters out the spam messages so they never reach your clean inbox.
It is the end of the day. You are exhausted. The work is done. It is time to turn off, shut down, or power off the machine.
Again, 3 perfectly synonymous phrases that we use interchangeably. They all mean to initiate the software sequence that completely stops the computer's operating system, closes all programs safely, and cuts the electrical current. Always remember to save your essay document before you shut down the computer for the night.
But wait, my battery is dead, and I want it to charge overnight. I need to plug in before I shut down.
To plug in means to physically connect an electronic device to an electrical power source by pushing the metal prongs of the cord into a wall socket. You called tech support because your desktop computer wouldn't start, but it isn't broken, you just forgot to plug it in.
And before I finally leave the office, I need a physical paper copy of my financial report for the morning meeting. I need to print out.
To print out means to command the computer to send digital data to a physical printer machine, which then produces a hard, physical copy on paper using ink. The invisible digital data comes out of the screen realm and enters the real, physical world that you can touch. Can you please print out 3 copies of the meeting agenda before you go home?
Tomorrow, I get a brand new dual monitor display, which means I have to set up my desk all over again.
To set up hardware or software means to go through the complex, necessary steps of assembling, installing, configuring, and preparing it so that it is fully ready to be used. You take it out of the cardboard box, you plug in the power cables, you arrange the monitors, you install the software drivers. That entire agonizing process is setting it up.
And technology moves so incredibly fast, it is just exhausting to keep up with.
To keep up with is our final tech verb, and it loops back to our race metaphor from earlier. It means to maintain the same rapid pace or level as something that is moving incredibly quickly. Technology trends change daily. New phones drop every year. As Albert Einstein, an important person in history, might say today, it is incredibly difficult to keep up with all these software updates. It requires constant running just to stay in the exact same place.
You know, it really is exhausting. And listener, you have done an incredible job keeping up with us today. You just ran a linguistic marathon. As promised, here's your special bonus at the end. Your bonus phrasal verb is soak in, which means to absorb information completely and deeply. You've just soaked in over 100 new vocabulary words today. Imagine a dry, rigid sponge placed into a bowl of water. It expands as it drinks the water. Your brain has just acted like that sponge and absorbed all of this incredible, complex language.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought to ponder. Think about how physical our language actually is. We fall behind, we back up, we catch on, we break out. Next time you read an English sentence, look for the hidden physical movements in the words. How does your native language compare? Does it use spatial directions like up, down, in, and out to explain invisible emotions and digital actions the way English does?
If you made it to the very end of this massive deep dive, we want to know. Please write "I am consistent" in the comment box so we know you are dedicated to your learning.
Also, please write your feedback in the comments and let us know which kind of topic do you want for the next deep dive. We tailor the show for you.
If you like this deep dive, and if you want to read an amazing article about English linguistics, go in the show notes description box. There, I have provided a special link. If you subscribe once, you will receive a free, high-quality article in your email for free every single time we publish.
If you enjoyed this, there are many more episodes in our audio feed. Go check them out and binge-watch your favorites. Keep practicing your speaking and listening. Look for those spatial metaphors everywhere you go, and we will see you next time.